And again, it ended when that suspect ran inside the store.
Yeah,
and
police aren't giving us much information at this point, but you can see there is something major going on. There are reports on social media of a hostage situation, of a shootout. We cannot confirm that at this point. Police, of course, are quite busy dealing with this situation, but witnesses on the scene say they have seen people running, evacuating out of Trader Joe's. You can see just how many dozens of officers. It looks like there are several SWAT units on scene here. We cannot confirm the reports that are buzzing around social media right now of any hostages that may or may not be inside this. We do know that a pursuit ended at this Trader Joe's, and there may have been a passenger in the vehicle with the driver. The driver got out. We have seen a photo on social media of a back window of that car being blown out. And then we're working right now on details of what's going on inside the Trader Joe's right now. Our reporter just arrived on scene, or is pulling up as of right now. This is a live look of one of our ABC7 cameras of just a massive police response.
Okay, what we can tell you is it's a serious situation, and we're trying to gather as much information as we can.
So if you're not familiar with this area, this is kind of the convergence of Silver Lake and Los Feliz and almost Atwater Village. It's Hyperion Avenue, which if you travel a little further north, merges with Glendale Boulevard into Atwater Village, a popular shop. This is a popular shopping area. There's several grocery stores. There's a Gelson's across the street, the Trader Joe's. There's a little strip mall with a popular ice cream shop just really feet from where Trader Joe's is. And on a Saturday afternoon in the middle of summer, this was likely a very busy situation, location. And you can see the ladder that police have put up. We assume that police have put that ladder there. And as we see one officer going up, it looks like with some gear on his back. I would assume there's going to be a rifle among that pack of gear, sniper's rifle, as they set up position in this area. But again, dozens of officers and not a lot of it looks pretty calm right now. Not a lot of tension in the body language of these officers as they stand around. Of course, what we're looking at here, the officers climbing that ladder, is about a half a block away from the Trader Joe's, but they're setting up location on the roof across from the entrance of the Trader Joe's. They'll set up a location and likely set up rifles to keep an eye with long distance scopes to be able to see if they can look inside the store to see what's going on in there. But again, police still pretty tight-lipped. We're making calls, and we're just getting the same response that this is where a suspect ended their pursuit. But we do know they're calling it an active police incident at this point. That was just tweeted out a few minutes ago by the LAPD on their Twitter account, an active police incident. We are, again, working to find out whether there are hostages being held inside of this Trader Joe's, what the situation is. We have seen people running out of the store, and we're almost as much in the dark from as far as police information is concerned as you are, and we're working the phones and talking to trying to get a public information officer to respond and get us more information
from authorities.
Yeah, and so here's some of the perils on our end of things. There are multiple reports on Twitter of people reporting shots fired, hearing a shootout or shots fired, or seeing hostage situations. We see those too. We can't report that as accurate until we confirm it either on the scene from witnesses or whether we talk to police. So we see them just like you do. I know there's a lot of folks out there calling for us to report on this. We don't know. We can't say whether there was a shootout, whether there were shots fired, and whether or not there are indeed hostages. Where our camera is set up, where you're watching these images from, is as close as the news media is allowed to get. They set up a big perimeter, especially if there is a possible active shooter, as this is. We can call it a possible active shooter. We don't know, but they keep media and bystanders as far back as they can. I'm sure they'd like to get cameras a little further than they are right now, but thankfully for us, we have a pretty decent view into what's going on here. I'm curious, we do have a helicopter on the way. Once Air 7 HD arrives, we should be able to see that car, the suspect's vehicle, and it might be the car that's in the roadway down the street a little bit to the right. I'm not sure if I think Sean is on the camera here. There was a car parked in the road, and it's inside the barricade, so I'm not sure if that was just a car that was passing by at the time police showed up, or whether that might be the car involved in the pursuit. We saw reports on social media of the back window of the suspect's vehicle being blown out. You can't exactly see from this angle whether that is the case with this car. It's just difficult to see. And for all we know, that could just be a car that happened to be parked there or driving by and stopped inside the police zone, the yellow tape. So we're working. Once we get our eye in the sky on scene, we should get a better view of the layout here and exactly what we're looking at.
And if you're just joining, authorities are trying to make contact with that suspect.
Okay, just moments ago, we did get an update from the Los Angeles Fire Department. There was one 20-year-old female transported to the hospital in fair condition. So we do have one person taken to the hospital. We don't know what their condition was, what necessitated that trip to the hospital. Obviously, the first thought would be that it might be a gunshot wound, but again, we don't know. That's all we have from the LA Fire Department. One 20-year-old female transported to the hospital in fair condition. LAPD headquarters, we're still waiting on more information from them. Their last tweet was 21 minutes ago. And again, that was only to say there's an active police incident at the Trader Joe's at Hyperion. Please stay clear of the area. That's actually also important as you're watching this. If you're out and about today, one, just for your own sanity with dealing with traffic on a Saturday, you're going to want to stay away from this area because Hyperion is already a busy thoroughfare to get around. On weekends, it's particularly heavily trafficked, and now that this is shut down, it's going to start sending trouble around to all the surrounding roads into Echo Park and Los Feliz, the surrounding areas of Silver Lake, across the 5 into Atwater Village. So that's going to be a problem. Again, LAPD telling us a public information officer is responding to the scene. More information will be released as it becomes available.
And we're looking at people go to a safer area.
Again, the dangers of going off of Twitter. Devin Field, who a writer for Jimmy Kimmel Live, if that is accurate, says that people are on scene with families still inside. So our reporter is going to start working the scene and see if they can talk to some of the witnesses who are on scene, just to kind of verify again that the danger of social media in this day and age. It's tough to trust what you read out there. We're reading what you're reading on social media, but we have to verify it with police and with witnesses who are on the scene. But again, I'm struck by the demeanor of the officers. You see so many officers, and they're gathered in groups. You can see along the far wall of Trader Joe's, they're standing around. Just by a rough count, you see 40 or 50 officers through a 2.5 block stretch. And it seems relatively calm. They're devising a game plan right now, likely gathering information, trying to figure out what the situation is inside of Trader Joe's. We are also working on getting a law enforcement expert to join us here on air to kind of break down exactly what these officers are doing, what they would be looking for at this point, and to see how they can perhaps get into contact. I think at this point we can accurately say that this is a barricaded situation. If police are on the outside with no movement, all focused on the Trader Joe's, that would be, that's basically the definition of what a barricade is. So we believe that the driver of a suspect pursuit, and here we have video of a woman being escorted, visibly upset, 2 people, officers running them out of the scene. We're not sure if they were inside the store or whether they were just kind of stuck inside the police tape. But this is one of those situations that is it's extremely scary to be caught inside of or around. If the reports of gunshots in the area prove to be accurate, that is a very jarring experience to go through. Just hearing on what was a calm Saturday afternoon broken apart by gunshots, that can be quite disorienting and anxiety-inducing. You see people kind of running out with anxiety on their face. It is a tough scene to watch. That car, that BMW that's parked in the background doesn't seem to be getting much attention from officers, which would lead me to believe it's not involved. But again, we don't know. You can see on the far side of your screen, that's where the police tape is on the back side. So folks over there might have a better view, but we're still working to get Air 7 HD. I'm not sure if the airspace around this has been shut down, perhaps. We're not able to get a signal in this area with a possible active shooter in a barricade situation going on.
Again, it might be because they don't have too much to give.
Right. We lost our shot. Looks like police might be asking our camera to move. So we're just giving you a map of where this is happening. Again, Devon Field, this is unsubstantiated, but reports on Twitter says it's a writer for Jimmy Kimmel Live, says, I was walking in to the Trader Joe's when a car crashed, running from the police into a street lamp in front of the entrance. Gunmen got out and started shooting at the cops. I hid behind a retaining wall with 3 cops until they had me crawl out. We're working to substantiate all of this information, but another tweet from Devon Field. Employees are saying the gunman shot a TJ's employee in the arm. Another employee dragged her out, and the police got her into the ambulance. We have heard an eyewitness report of a woman being pulled out, and that would, if that's the case, we do know one woman, a 20-year-old woman, has been transported to the hospital. So that would potentially coincide with what we have heard. Again, more tweets here from Devon Field. We're not sure if this is accurate. Some people, again, say people here with family still inside of the store. And so there's more here. It's too much to go unsubstantiated right now, but it sounds like a dangerous situation. And we're waiting for confirmation from police. And waiting for more information from police, and our reporter on scene is working the scene right now, trying to talk to any witnesses. But again, it is a chaotic scene, and in the early parts of a situation like this, a barricade situation, where you might be dealing with hostages who are stuck inside, police are pretty tight-lipped about what's going on. They don't want to give away their tactical position, what they plan to do, because in this day and age as well, someone could be watching on their phone and watching this broadcast and seeing what police are doing.
It is a very fluid situation for officers. Of course, they don't want to put their officers, for authorities, they don't want to put the officers in danger, and nor the public. And I would suspect that is why they've asked our camera to move, assuming that that's what happened, because they were showing, the camera was showing the position of some of the officers on the roof in the building near the Trader Joe's, and perhaps they don't want that suspect to maybe have access to a television inside the Trader Joe's or in a back room, who knows?
Yeah, I know it's rough.
Even on TV, even on the phone.
We can pop this up. I know it's a little shaky right now as our cameraman sets up, but we're watching him, we're watching the feed right now of them set their camera back up. It's a little shaky right now, but it looks like they're being directed by officers to head a little further away from the scene. They're walking down the police line. There you go. So even where the media is being set up is a chaotic situation. We've seen a couple officers.
This is very typical. Sorry, we're looking at the pictures.
I believe this
here.
is a second. I believe we now have a second camera on scene here. There's the first. I think okay. We just lost both signals.
Okay.
So we will wait to get that back. Do we have word on Air 7? Do we know was there a problem with the airspace there? Okay, so we're still awaiting to see when Air 7 HD is able to arrive, and if they're not being permitted to fly into this airspace, if it indeed is an active shooter, perhaps they have shut this down. I don't think it would be. There's no airports around, either smaller airports that would lock down the airspace. Dodger Stadium is not close enough for that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so we're doing the best we can at this point.
Okay. Here's another look at the man and the woman who were escorted by police out of the police scene. Just trying to read, body language and facial expressions is tough. Neither one seemed to be too panicked, if that means anything. At this point, it likely doesn't. Again, looking at, we're just scouring social media as there are several reports, and that seems to be the only information that's coming out right now, none of it official. Again, I go back to Devon Field, who on Twitter says is a writer for Jimmy Kimmel and a comedian with the Upright Citizens Brigade, who happened to be at the Trader Joe's when this happened, taking to Twitter, saying that the gunman wanted to he was ordering everybody around. Employees locked themselves in a bathroom. One of them, a former Marine, was helping to sneak people out. Again, we're working to corroborate this and to verify. But then again, this is just a social media report. It would be the equivalent of talking to someone on scene. It's not verified by police, who again were awaiting a public information officer to either arrive on scene or themselves learn enough information to then go to us and give us some information. According to this witness on Twitter, the gunman returned fire to police and dropped to the ground. Eventually tried crawling out, but couldn't get out. So they had to crawl out and run, is what this says. So it's just, it's tough. It's tough to get accurate information and verify information, but we're still, again, waiting on police to verify exactly what is going on.
In the meantime, though, you inside the store was able to get out. We don't know. And so,
yeah,
you know, the worst case scenario is that there is a large group of people in that store with a suspect who is not stable.
So it looks like our original camera position was much closer to the scene. This is further north. So this is further up Hyperion Avenue towards Atwater Village, towards the 5, where Rowena crosses over the 5 and merges with Glendale Boulevard. We do have a reporter on scene. Amy Powell is there live. Let's go to her with the very latest. Amy, can you hear us, and what can you tell us?